to have Coach Marcella from Bridgton here today. He's going to talk stick concepts and some of Bridgton's past game. So, Coach, appreciate your time, man. Appreciate you coming in and doing this with us. And like I said, if people have questions, go ahead and just turn on your mic and ask them. You can throw them in the chat or just say them to the end. Anything works there. So, floor is yours, Coach.
Mike, thank you very much. And I'm sure I speak for a lot of guys, and thanking you for all the time and effort that you put into this. We're all really disappointed when the thing got canceled back in March, and I know Skip put a lot of time into it as well. So at least we get something out of this. It's a pleasure to have the opportunity to present here. Bridgton Academy football is a part of Maine. I mean, next year will be my 30th year overall at Bridgton Academy. It'll be my 26th as the head football coach. And we've got great ties with the state of Maine, even though the majority of our kids come from, somewhere not too close here. Right now, on my coaching staff, I've got 2 Bridgton Academy graduates that are Maine natives. Matt Burgess, obviously, most of you guys know. Coach, he's played at Gardner, played for his dad there, and then coached there for a couple of years himself. John Day came from Gorham High School, played at Bridgton Academy, and then played at Wesleyan. Rick Kramer was the head football coach at Poland, started the program there, and he's our offensive coordinator. Tom Austin just got elected to the Maine State Coaches Hall of Fame. Jordan Stevens, played for Bridgton, was a captain at UMaine, and now coaching at Yale, doing a great job. Nat Clark, head football coach up at Husson, is a Bridgton Academy graduate. Gabby Price, I'm not sure if Gabby's from Maine or not, but I know that Gabby played at Bridgton Academy, as did Ed Mystery. So a lot of connections there. And then I always brag about my own son, who played at Lake Region, is now the offensive coordinator at RPI. So, he had no choice but to do a tour of duty at Bridgton Academy. So a lot of great ties, and I'm sure there's a bunch of them that I've forgotten. We had 3 Maine kids that played for our 8-2 football team this past year. Drew Greger from Marshwood is going to go play at Endicott College next year. Vic Marone, who was a tight end at Chevrolet, was already enrolled at New Haven. And then Braxton Cassidy was an offensive lineman out of Wyndham, who's going to play down at Central Connecticut next year. We got 3 kids coming in: Mark Riali from Biddeford, Matt Laughlin out of Cape Elizabeth, and Josiah Cope out of Deering. So there's always a good Maine flavor here. And I always tell you guys, Skip knows this, we are always recruiting at Bridgton Academy. Okay, we're always looking for good kids, good players, guys who can, looking forward to improving themselves academically and athletically. So if you hear of any kids and something shakes out, a kid who hasn't been placed yet, who might benefit from the year, give me a shout, and we will definitely follow up with the young man. Okay, I'm going to play through this PowerPoint and go through a couple things. I'll pause it as appropriate. You take a look at our schedule. The one big difference, obviously, between us and the traditional New England prep schools is that, we're all PGs, and we play a college university football schedule. So all those games right there are etched in stone before Corona hit, with the exception of Princeton. Princeton's at 90%, but we're pretty confident that's going to happen. So we're banging heads with 3 1AA football programs. The Naval Academy Prep School, which is a Division I program down in Newport, Rhode Island. Western New England and Framingham both made the playoffs last year in Division III. And then obviously, Nat's up there at Husson, and he's agreed to come back and play with us. And they were in the Division III playoffs 2 years ago. So it's a great level of competition that we play against. And then we run our black and gray scrimmage, which is basically, think of the NFL Combine, and that's something we take down to Massachusetts in early December. College coaches come on in and watch our kids run around and compete. They get a chance to go eyeball to eyeball, shake hands with them, grab that tricep and see what the kid's been doing in the weight room. So one of the many ways that we try to enhance our kids' experience while they're here at Bridgton Academy. Okay. I always bring I don't know how well you guys can see this through this format right now, but it's a formations page. We talk about all of our formations are always called as right formations unless otherwise indicated. We use that same term. I hear a lot of guys using it with the spread offense, that term unless. This is an absolute unless we tell you otherwise. Kind of like your wife telling you something, right? This is how I want it done unless I tell you otherwise. And you better get it done that way. I know you guys know all that. But one of the things that we did do a couple of years ago, and again, this was Coach Burgess that brought this to my attention. He says, instead of running your receivers back and forth, or, you want your primary receiver on to field or whatever. So just keep the kids on one side of the ball. If you want to go fast, this will help you do that. And that's what we've done. So in all of these formations, as you go down the page, you'll see my X receiver is always going to be to the left. My Z receiver is always going to be to the right. The Y will be paired with the Z, and the H will be paired with the X in any 2x2 sets. And then we show you how we trade and flip-flop with the H and the Y as we go to a 3x1 set. But, some coaches go, well, geez, you don't have your best receiver where you want him. And then again, I default to what our program is all about. And that's helping our guys develop, helping our guys get seen. So it'd be very easy for me to take my top receiver and put him where I want him all the time as a coach. And, most coaches do that. For us, I've got to make sure that I'm giving the other kids in the team an equal opportunity at both success and failure. So, I gotta put that kid who's not my top kid, and I gotta make him the primary receiver in a given play based upon formation. But it does help us get lined up pretty well, and it's something that we stick with and stick by. Not going to spend too much time on these two slides. They are our receiver route trees. Okay, I've got our outside receiver route trees that go into the inside and outside accordingly. Our inside route trees go into the outside routes and inside routes accordingly. And we follow that up again with our running back route tree and our tight end route tree. Okay, so at least the kids have something to deal with. We don't give them the whole playbook, you never do. But it's just something they can get eyes on, and they can understand the verbiage and understand the depth of the routes, and we can, coach up on those things as we go along throughout the course of preseason and then the season. Okay. I talk about this all the time. I started off as a receivers coach at Albany, SUNY Albany for Bob Ford back in 1981, Skip. And we just talk about the landmarks for our receivers. And again, I understand that some of the high schools are still playing with the wider hash marks, so you guys have to adjust accordingly. We play all NCAA rules, so we need to know, our kids need to know where the top of the numbers are, the bottom of the numbers are, where the hash marks are. They need to know the distance between the hash marks and the numbers. So these are things we work with the guys about landmarks and adjusting from those landmarks based upon what, the various route specifications. Okay. And again, I don't know how many of you guys are like me, but I still line my own practice field with a spray can and all that good fun stuff. So at least once a week we get out there and get some exercise that way. Okay. So a couple other things we work. Receiver reminders. We talk to our kids. We're presenting everything we do. ASKRT, alignment, stance, keys, responsibility, and technique. We tell our kids that they got to know this for every single game. All right. I don't know. I think you guys got to tell me a good high school football program these days, if you have a dozen kids who are 10 to 12 kids who are going to go from your program to the college level next year, I think that's pretty damn good. I don't know if most schools are averaging that many. You guys can tell me otherwise, but we always tell our kids that the college coaches want you to be students of the game. Again, it just harkens back to what our program is all about, is getting kids ready for the next level. And I think our place is a great segue for the kids to make that transition. And I'm telling you, some kids come here and go, "Hey, coach, you know what? I'm good. I had a 6'4", 295-pound lineman last year. Tell me, says, Coach, I'm done. I'm going to go to the University of Lowell. I'm going to study X, Y, Z. I've really enjoyed the football program here, but I know that college football is not for me. It's too much work. It's too much time. And thanks very much. And okay, great. That's the way it goes sometimes. But telling the kids they got to know the alignment, stance, their keys, responsibilities, techniques, all those pieces. Communicating with each other, right? Who's on the line, who's off the line, all those things, all those absolutes that we deal with. Right foot up, left foot up, unless we tell you otherwise. Okay. Obviously, the rules to live by. Always use two hands. I'm always telling the kids to run their routes as if they are going to be the primary receiver. Again, hearkening to a college coach is looking at your film with a fine-tooth comb. And if he sees you being a dog and not coming off the line of scrimmage, man, then say goodbye to getting recruited. He's going to go to the next kid because he's got plenty of guys to look at. Okay. My favorite is to the wide receivers is, hey, fellas, sometimes you got to make the quarterback look good. And when you start making that quarterback look good, guess what? The ball's going to come your way more often than not. Okay. Helping a brother out, being part of a great wide receiver group is being a great blocker. When I got to Albany in 1981, we were triple option. Okay. So the first thing I did was teach stock block. And I still teach stock block to this day. Probably spend more time on it than anybody else who runs a spread. But I think it's really important. And again, just on a personal note, I know when my son played for Coach Murphy at St. A's, he got on the field because he could block. Okay, so that got him on the field first, and then he had to figure out some other shit as he went along. Got to go get the ball, fellas. You got to go get the ball, and you got to go two hands. All this one hand shit, I'm sure it drives you crazy as it does me. It's great when it happens and all that kind of stuff, but I'll bet you that a one-handed catch is 1 in 10 times. So you guys all know the rest of that story. Okay, so here's our primary route. It's a 2x2 stick. Okay, the routes will remain the same no matter what we do as far as formations, double tight, double flank, or that type of thing. Here I got our double slot set. We call it queens. All right. The stick is the combo. The front side is the right side. Okay. It's a skinny post by the number 1 receiver, and it's a standard hitch route by number 2. Okay. On the back side, we run what we call switch routes, and we signal everything in. Okay. That's what we were doing with all of our 3-step game in the past. This past year, I fired my offensive coordinator, who was me. I hired Rick Kramer, let him do it, and he decided to mirror all of the routes on both sides of the ball. So we ran stick on both sides, but we have the ability to do both anytime we want to. Okay. On the switch routes, that's old school run and shoot terminology. I know a lot of teams still use it. It's a quick flat by number 2. It's an inside stem with a vertical dig. Okay. By number 1, he's got to read the drop of the linebacker. As you see down there, down below, really the biggest thing with the switch routes, the last 2 things are most important. Number 1, it helps us to train our quarterbacks to know there's something on the backside, because our kids coming out of high school, a lot of times they tend to have a little bit of tunnel vision. So we train them to go to the backside, and then those routes are always open, especially that dig route. We tell our quarterback he can throw that flat right now if he's got it, but if he's going through the progression on the front side and doesn't like it, he's going to find some area, because they're reading his eyes, and your dig guy is going to find some space there, some green grass somewhere 10 to 12 yards down the field on that dig route. Okay, so that skinny post, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about this as we go along. I tell my guys, I want you out to at least the numbers, at least the top of the numbers, run that skinny post, give me a 12-yard stem, okay? And that ball should not be caught on the inside part of the hash. It shouldn't be thrown inside the hash mark, okay? And you're going to see on film, you're going to say, hey, coach, but you said, and you guys know it, you coach one thing and you still get something else out of some of these kids. So it's frustrating. it's frustrating sometimes. But we really want that to be a skinny post over the top, and we're going to look at that stick route first in the progression. Okay. So getting into teaching some of it, one of our favorite drills, we call it the Kentucky drill. Okay, it's routes, RVA, routes versus ear, with 4 quarterbacks throwing every route in the combo. Okay, front side and back side. And we'll do this probably a couple of times a week. Definitely earlier in the week, getting some more throws in. I heard one of the coaches talk about before about making sure the number 2s are getting in there. We don't have a big depth issue. All of our guys are playing, and some guys are rotating as inside and outside receivers. So there's not a big depth issue. It's not a big rep issue. But this is a great time to get a lot of throws in a short period of time. Okay, and all we're doing working here is I'm less concerned with the speed of the route than I am with the footwork, the releases, the depth of the receivers. And I'm worried about, obviously, we have a quarterback coach watching the quarterback's footwork and arm angles and those type of things. Okay, we'll transition into 2 quarterbacks throwing off of a read defender. Okay, or you can cut the read, you can cut that drill in half and just go with 2v1 with 1 quarterback throwing, depending upon how your numbers are, that type of thing. Okay. Sometimes there'll be a coach out there being that linebacker, giving us the read, buzzing to the flat, opening up the other route, or staying down low on the hitch and then throwing the post over the top. This combination right here is something I think back in the day that Brady and Moss and Welker were working on quite a bit. And we started running this at Bridgton probably back in 2009. We went to the spread, and we really, we've stayed with it. It's been a great route combo for us. And part of it is because this, I believe, is an easy throw. Okay. And this is the money shot. And when you throw that easy throw, and you take advantage of that easy throw enough times, the money shot's going to open up for you. Okay. We will also, we'll also get into multiple defenders. Okay, for various reasons. All right, just to keep it moving, so the quarterbacks don't get don't think it's too easy, get too complacent. All right, and then we also get into running this stuff out of a 3x1. Okay, and when we introduce this, we run it by 3x1. Now there's a modification. Now there's a modification here with the number 2 and number 3 receiver. Number 2 is still running the hitch, but it's not that same hitch that would do like he runs on a smash route I showed down here. He's running this with a purpose. We talk about the dual purpose of the route, and that is to set the pick. We want to set a pick. We want to get a rub for number 3 running the flat route here. Okay, so we'll progress. I'm sure you guys do the same thing for a 2x2 to a 3x1, and later on you'll see it in the film. We'll go from 2x2 motion to 3x1 and run the routes the same way. Okay, so that's how we run the routes. This route does not change. Okay, I'm going to come back and talk about this piece a little bit over here a little bit more, but I know this is actually my protection page. We're just using a Scat Pro with a slide, with the 3-man side. The running back side, he'll have a dual read inside to outside linebacker, and we'll vary up the protection based upon how we're going to use it in our plays. Because I'm getting ahead of myself here. We'll run the play as a drop back. We'll run the play as an RPO, and we'll run the play as a play action. Okay, and the play action is more of what I add a special tag to it. I give the running back the opportunity to align away from his pass responsibility. So if I called special, and even though the running back's responsibility, this diagram is to the left, he can align to the right, come across the face of the quarterback, and get to his designated area as long as he gets to his spot. Okay, it's a cursory fake from the quarterback. I was looking for a little bit more of a mesh from the running back, but his responsibility is, hey, sell run and get into somebody. Make sure keep those linebackers from getting into the pass drops, and that usually works pretty good for us. Okay, this is more of just a diagram of our Scat Pro where it's a typical drop. Right, we're already in the gun, so it's more of like a 5-step drop, old school, And here we run a pattern that we call it smash middle. That's a whole nother clinic. So again, here's how we'll run it as an RPO off of an inside zone. All right, with a 3x1 set. Okay, you've got that rub that I talked to you about, and the key is that when we set that rub, we're trying to get this guy, this defender who's responsible for the number three receiver, try to get him to have to cause him to bubble over the top of the route by number 2 or come underneath the route of number 2. Right now, obviously, I've got it drawn up here with the RPO. He's the guy in conflict. He's the guy that the quarterback's going to read for that piece, okay, for the RPO. On the play action pass off the inside zone, this is the special I was talking about. I'm getting my slides mixed up a little bit, going too fast, but this is where the running back has the option to come across the face of the quarterback and get into his pass responsibility from there, okay? And we can run any of our 3-step routes with a special tag, okay, which will tell the running back, hey, you line up away, come across the quarterback's face, and just to kind of keep those linebackers in tight, giving them a little bit more of a run threat, a run look. Okay, let me go back one piece here. Okay, I can't see you online, but you guys give me thumbs up if you're running anything like this, what we call the open concept or the access pass, where basically it's backyard football. Okay, the quarterback and the single receiver in any one of our formations, any one of our 3x1 formations, or any of our run plays. All right, he can run the gift route, the open route, whatever he wants to run, the access route. It's just these two guys being on the same page. If he gets a look that it's favorable matchup, quarterback just takes the ball and hucks it out to this guy. It's like playing old school football, you know, in the backyard. You know, you played a long time with your best friend or your brother, and he knows what you like, you know what he likes, and you're gonna go do it. We do a hand signal with the receiver and the quarterback. He can run a fade, and he's going to run a fade versus some press coverage. He can run a slant. If his corner is off, he's got to keep an eye on this guy, this outside linebacker, obviously, or he'll run just a straight hitch. And again, the quarterback has the option. You got counter called, doesn't matter. He can throw the ball out there. Now, the biggest thing that I know a lot of coaches worry about and go, Coach, if I told my quarterback that he didn't have to go through a read progression, or he didn't have to hand the ball off, or that he could throw the ball if he wanted to, he'd throw the ball every freaking play. And I go, yeah, I get that part of it, but you know, if you get a quarterback, you got a kid for a couple of years, I hope you get to understand what you're trying to do. They'll buy into it, and the receivers buy into it an awful lot as well. So I got plenty of film for you, so I'll put some of this to play. I'm always a proponent of showing more film than the X and the O and the chalk talk, because I think the proof is on the field there. Okay. So this is against Framingham State a couple of years back. This is a true RPO right here. Okay, we get a pretty good fake here. We tell that quarterback he's reading the guy in conflict. The guy in conflict is this linebacker right here over number 2, okay? And you read his feet. If he makes any movement whatsoever to get into a pass drop, it is a give. It is a give. So obviously this kid looks at it and says, oh, now he's coming up forward. Let me get the ball out there. There's the quick hitch. He should actually have a little bit more of an outside stem. I would like that. Okay? And you can see we're mirroring it on both sides of the field here. Okay? It's an easy pitch and catch. And we gain, I think, about 12 yards out of it. Okay, I think they're in a one high safety look, which doesn't hurt us either. Actually, I'm sorry, it was 2. Okay, this is at home in 2017 against UNE. This is their first year playing. We played them twice. Okay, this is the first time we played them. Okay, this is just a little bit of that special look. Okay, because you can see by the offensive line their pass setting. So it definitely is a pass call. The running back has the option of going across the face of the quarterback. Again, my feeling is it helps hold the linebackers. I don't know if it did a great job here, but the guy we're reading certainly bid up inside that. Okay? Now, you're going to hear me bitch about this throughout this film. This is the kid that came through, Johnny Rosario, who played at Thornton Academy, okay, who's a phenomenal talent, but a very, very, very undisciplined football player. He's supposed to take this thing up 12 yards skinny, all right, take it to the outside shoulder of the defender, and then cut it thin. Well, he takes it right inside, giving this corner a line of sight to make a tackle. So again, we talk about helping a brother out. Now he's got to be more disciplined in his route running. Plus, he's going to be over the hash mark, which I don't want to throw the ball inside there anyway. Okay. So again, here we are. This is a true RPO right now because you see the offensive tackle right here at the bottom of the screen. He's walling off the backside tackle. Okay. Normally he would be free to go and get up to the next level, but this is definitely an RPO. All right. And you guys tell me. Okay. You take a look at this linebacker right here. Here's my read. What's he doing? He's coming up on run right away. So this should be a pull read. The quarterback should have pulled and thrown the ball right now to the hitch. Okay? But we make the best of it. It's 3rd and 3. Okay? A little BYOB here. Bring your own block. And he gets the necessary yardage. Okay? So, you know, we bitch at the quarterback when he doesn't pull it. Okay? And sometimes you got to bitch upon him and tell him, hey, you got to pull it. It's part of the teaching progression. I'll skip on next play. Okay. This is down at Curry, same year. This is the first time we ran the play. Ran it as a special. Running back comes across, gets a cursory fake. Okay. I don't like the route. He's drifting. He's got to stick it, maybe come back down the stem a little bit. But I will tell you that we're also keeping an eye on that safety. It looks like they're in a cover 4 type look. The safeties are backpedaling out of their slow. All right, so we got our eye in the sky. Excuse me. And he's looking at that safety going, hey, coach, he's getting pretty nosy on that hitch. All right, but 2 plays later, we come back with the same play. Okay, this is 2 plays later, same game, same series. Okay, we throw the hitch. Look how tight the safety is. He gets flat-footed, and now we've got the home run ball over the top. Okay, we ran that at Yale back in 2009. Same thing. Just put the ball out there. Again, the ball you see right here. You know, that's not a bad cut. The ball is not caught beyond the hash, even though the original placement of the ball was on the hash. If you keep it skinny enough, it gives you a lot of room to operate. Okay, so again, some of the stuff here. Why do I like the 2x2 stick? Okay, it's a quick throw right in here. I think it's an easy throw for our quarterbacks. All right. It gives you a deep option as well. It gives us the switch routes on the backside that give us a quick throw to the backside if we want it. It gives us a medium level route when we come back here with a dig, or if you have the time, you're late on the wheel. It gives you something else to throw the ball deep on the backside as well. But it's a good front side, backside combination for us. And again, as I've talked about here, switch is understood backside routes for all of the 3-step game that we teach in preseason camp. Okay. And again, we should throw it more. We got to have a little more patience with it. But this whole stick concept has been a great short yardage play for us. It's been a great red zone play for us. Okay, so 3x1 stick. Okay, this is understood that this is a rub route, right? Number one wide receiver, you're out at the numbers, run your skinny post at 12 yards. Okay, number two is on the line of scrimmage, right? Slightly less than halfway. You are going to set the pick on the defender, which right here is this Sam. Okay, you're going to set the pick on him because he would be responsible for number three. All right, try to cause him to bubble over the top of your route or run underneath. All right, but we have to talk to this guy about this piece right here, the dual purpose of the route. Okay, some kids are great. Go, yeah, coach, I always do what my coach told me. I'm going to come in and I'm going to set the pick, and Johnny's going to be open. Well, I go, yeah, but don't you want the ball too? Sure, I'd like the ball, but you want me to set the pick. I want you to do both. Okay, I want you to do both, and I really think that's important to stress to the guy that this route has a dual purpose. Set the pick, but get open. Okay. All right. Number three is off the ball, splitting the difference, and again, coming in motion. We'll time this up, and he's got to bring his man into the rub, get his head around quickly. All right. To the single wide receiver side, here's where I explain that access. And fellas, I have all of this done. I've got handouts for you. If you guys want these, I'll get these. I'll put them in the mail to you, get them to you, or I'll send you the huddle link as an exchange. You can have all this anytime you want it. Okay. But the open access pass, I'll tell you what. Since we started doing it, and we started doing it back in 2009, our kids love it. They buy into it. It keeps them entertained. It keeps them involved. Keeps them engaged, because it says, wait a minute, you call the run play, but I could get the ball in this play. I'm going to go run my route really well for you, coach. So here's what we're using for it down here: hits versus the various coverage, a slant versus coverage, and a fade versus coverage. Okay. So there's a 3x1 stick. I got a couple clips of it, running it out with no motion, and then we'll have a couple with motion. Okay. And again, we'll do this one always with a read. This is, again, which we call, RVA, routes versus ear. We always want to have the quarterback having a read. Okay. And we'll have him. This linebacker is not there necessarily for the quarterback to read. He's there for the wide receiver to read. So he says, hey, if this kid's off and loose, I don't want to run a slant into that coverage. I'll stick with the hitch if the DB's off. If the DB's up, then I'm going on the fade. All right. And then we'll have two reads out here for the quarterback to decide where he wants to throw the ball. And we basically tell him, hey, don't be a wise ass and throw the ball to the post all the time here, because you're not getting any work out of it. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that once in a while as well. So here we are at home. This is against Navy Prep, right? We end up coming and throwing the ball to the fade on the open side, which is great. But you're going to see against some quality competition, we've got the rub. We have a chance to come to the flat ball. You'll see we could actually drill the ball into the hitch right here as well. So it's I think a very multifaceted play. Okay, right here, right? You see he's forcing that linebacker, number 16, number 2 here to the left side. He's forcing that linebacker to bubble over the top, okay, which forces that other defender to bubble over the top of his coverage. We could stick that thing right in there right now. Or we could throw the ball to the flat and be in the end zone just by falling down. But instead we go to the backside fade, and that's okay. Maybe if we protect a little bit better. Thankfully, the referees were on our payroll that day. Okay, same play. You'll see the bust in protection. Probably still a catchable ball. Okay, again, 3x1. This is the same day, same opponent. I'd like number 2 to come less vertical and attack that inside linebacker in the box a little bit more. We get a good outside release by the outside receiver. We should throw the ball to the flat right now. Okay? Not that I don't want the completion, but I think there's a little less traffic outside. Okay. Again, here we are against Curry in 2017. I think, and especially you got to understand, we're playing a JV team, and these guys don't get all the reps that the varsity guys get. I get that, I understand that. But I also understand we're going against some sophomores and juniors every time as well. This outside linebacker does a great job of not biting, and they pass off that switch. But here's an example of a ball that's thrown on time, to the outside number. Okay, that thing's only caught 2 yards downfield. We end up with about a 12, 14-yard gain. Okay. Another really good decision by our quarterback here is to not throw the ball here, because as you can see, their safety has come down off the hash mark, and he's waiting. He's waiting for that slant route to come in. I think we probably hit him with that once or twice, and they made an adjustment. The quarterback read it pre-snap and said, no, I'm going to stay front side. So, that's a good job on his part. Same play, end zone view. Again, we do have the running back coming across the face of the quarterback. Okay, ball's out. And like I said, we get about a 12-yard gain out of a 2-yard pass. I'll take that every day. This is against Western New England down at their place. Okay. I talked about the landmarks. I talked about, our guys communicating about who's on the line of scrimmage, who's off the line of scrimmage. Okay. Guys, for us, this happens to be week 9 for us. And here's my number 1 receiver who knows that he's not supposed to be on the ball, but this guy should be. And they're communicating, saying, hey, get up, get up, get up. And this guy steps up. Even though he's not the guy, he saves the play for us. So at least we had, an appropriate number of guys on the line of scrimmage. Okay, again, down the red zone, we're trying to get the ball to the big guy. This is the open concept. He knows he's running a fade versus press. We'll take that every day. Excuse me. This quarterback is down at Southern Connecticut right now. He just finished his sophomore year there. I think he's got a shot to play as a junior. This is not awful. It's a pretty good catch and throw. Puts the ball where only one guy can catch it. That's a pretty good toss. Okay, so here we start off in 2x2. We're going to motion to 3x1. Okay, this guy's going to come in and set the pick. He'll run the flat. He's got the skinny post. He's got the open. All right. But as we told you, and again, this is the emphasis that I try to make to these guys. Yes, you're going to set the pick, but you're also in charge of getting open. And you're going to see a great job. This kid does a great job here. I'm actually going to pop open to the third view of that. Okay. So when Mike Lichten came up for the game, he said, hey, coach, would you mind if we shot video of the game with our drone? And I was like, yeah, man, come on up. Let's get it done. And you guys can't do this. I think the FAA and everybody else, bitches and moans about this kind of thing. But thankfully, we're not governed by the NCAA or anybody else in that respect. So we had the drone up there, and this is the best football video I've seen in my 40 years of coaching. Take a look. So motion comes across, ball is snapped, okay? you see that linebacker, again, he's making a decision. He's coming underneath the route of number 2. Number 2 goes to set into that window, okay? But he sees that middle linebacker coming out, as does the quarterback, and he throws him into the next window. This is good stuff, fellas, right here. I'll tell you what, okay? And it's because we got some pretty good players. It's better than having good coaching. I'll tell you that. Okay, so he settles into that first window. The quarterback is already throwing him into the second window, and after that, it's just athleticism. Okay. But here's about that piece, and I reiterate this, and if I see this kid tomorrow, I'll tell him he's undisciplined. He's supposed to be out by the top of the numbers. Look how tight he is. Okay, if he's going to run that post route, he's too close to the hash mark for me. I don't want the ball there. What's happening on the backside? Where's this outside linebacker? Okay, he's outside the box. You got to be thinking about, hey, you know what? I probably don't want to run the slant in there. So these are the things that our kids got to be thinking about every single minute. And they got to go back to, talking to the kids about, hey, you want to play college ball? You better be a student of the game. Okay, and you can see at the bottom of the screen, to the right-hand side of the screen, he runs the proper route with the hitch. That's there for us. We should take that every day. Although I won't complain about that either. I'm gonna skip through, get that same view. All right, here's another game. Same game, another shot. Okay. You see over on the left-hand side, it's about 3rd and about 4, maybe a long 3. Okay, they're taking away the access pass into the short side of the field. We've got the rub. Okay, quarterback I think's got a little tunnel vision. I mean, holy shit! I mean, number 2 is open. Okay, he's forced that linebacker to bubble out underneath him, and he's wide open for the first down. And that kid dropped the ball on us. One of the very few drops he'd have all season. Here we go again. Another situation. Here comes the motion. All right. So now my quarterback said, well, he dropped the ball on me last time. And the other guy was open. Coach told me he was open. That's where I'm going to go. Well, he's not wrong. But I think the motion man is more opener, and our guys would say it, more opener than number 2 is. We got the first down. We'll take it, and we'll learn from it, hopefully. Again, 2 by 2, we're going to get motion. This is my favorite way to run the play. Excuse me. Ball should be gone right now. The ball should be gone right now. He sees the demeanor of that number 2 defender over the number 2 receiver, turning his shoulders and running inside. Get the ball out. God. Okay, just some of the stuff you got to deal with. How about on the backside? Okay, what's happening over here? Take a look at what's happening. He's aware. He knows it's coming to the single receiver. Okay, I guarantee you I do not teach that release. I'm not sure what that is. Okay, it is the correct route. He should have run the hitch and looked to get open. Okay, so as I told you, this is a great short yardage play for us. Right now I'm running it with 3rd and 13. All right, and basically I told the quarterback, and I might have even called timeout on this, hey, listen, let's take a shot. All right, we're going to run the motion. We've been throwing the ball over here to the pick routes over there. Let's take a shot at the backside post, see if it's there for us. It's 3rd and 13, see what we get. All right, again, sometimes you get what you coach, bad coaching. Maybe this is bad coaching. Maybe this is my fault. But this kid right now, you'll watch, he's looking at this kid right away. He's not even trying to look the safety out of center field, not trying to look him off at all. The other thing, this kid funnels himself so far inside that it's almost impossible to get open. And as bad as that is, right, we still got him by 3 steps, but the ball's underthrown and it gets picked off. Okay? My defensive coordinator, Mr. Burgess, would say good as a punt. Okay? I would, if I was a college coach, I would take away this kid's scholarship. That's just lack of discipline. You can't take that kind of release. You can't funnel yourself inside that deep when you're supposed to be running a post pattern. Good Lord. But they're only freshmen. And they got some time to mature and develop. Okay, here we are again, at Western New England. Right, again, you can see if you scout me, you know, here it is, third and short. Here comes the rub route. Okay, you can know it's coming, but if the ball's out on time, it's tough to stop. Okay, and they zoned up on us down here. Should have had a better split by number 1 receiver up top there. If you guys got any questions, give me a shout. Let me know. Okay, so here we are again. All right, we talk about this being a possibility for us. There's the rub route. There's the stick. Okay. Well, what happens, and you guys know this happens at your level as well, this kid is getting nosy. He's seeing the stick being hit. He's seeing the flat ball being hit. He goes, I got to get there and I got to go make a play. And he's very undisciplined. And what happens is right now he's gone. Okay, quarterback did a great job of keeping an eye on that. Right, kept the ball outside the hash mark, even though the route still could have been run better, in my opinion. Okay, still a little bit of undisciplined route. He funnels himself in, but we were able to take advantage of poor coverage with a well-thrown ball. And again, that drone footage is like the NFL Skycam. I love it. So again, why do I like the 3x1 stick? Okay, number 1, it helps us to introduce the open concept to our kids, and our kids buy into it. They pay attention. They pay attention to it. I believe the rub over here is an easy read for the quarterback. It's an easy throw. A hitch route inside or a flat ball to the outside. Okay. I love running it with motion. I love running it with motion because it helps us to identify the coverage, especially down in the red zone. Okay, forces the defense to adjust, and it makes that rub all the more effective. And again, activating the access pass. Right.
Hey, Coach, I got a question for you, real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
When you cross motion to that, does it hurt the ability of the Q and the backside receiver to kind of hand signal and know what they're doing?
Yes. Yep. Because you're exactly right. That does activate the open access. Okay. So there's only so many ways the corner's going to play you. Okay. And so as we go along, it's less of a hand signal and it's more of, okay, I see what's happening out there. You know what I mean? And that really shows the maturation of both those kids as the season progresses.
Yep, that makes sense. Thanks, Coach.
That's a great question, though. Okay. So, and I just included a couple quick diagrams here. We ran the stick. This is before 2009. We were still under center, not maybe about 30% of the time, but we used to run the same type of a concept. Out of 21 personnel, our tight end would come up and run the stick, and we would release that fullback into the flats. When we started doing a lot of too tight and stuff out of the gun, we did the same thing, and we just held the backside tight end, and we had the open concept on the backside. So you can take that same concept, obviously, the same teachings, and apply them to different facets of what you do. I love the double tight end stuff. I've spoken on that stuff before. Double tight end versus the spread with a spread philosophy, creating more gaps for your defense. We'll actually run both sides now as open, so the quarterback has a couple different ways, and then we start going with some different interior reads. I'll babble on forever about it because I love doing it. But anyway, again, appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Thursday night at 6:30. As my dad would say, it's 5 o'clock someplace, and I know you guys know what that means. So let's have at it. But if I can help you out with any of these things, let me know. Be more than happy to share this with you. And as I mentioned before, we are always actively recruiting. So if you have any guys out there, let me know. I appreciate it. Thank you.
If anybody's got any questions for Coach, go ahead and throw your cameras on and throw your mics on and get them asked before we close this thing down.
Great job, Coacher.
That was awesome, Coach. Well done, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Are you trying to call that stick in 3-by-1 against man to get that rub? Because against zone, obviously, they can kind of pass it off a little bit.
They can pass it
Ideally,
off,
you call
yeah.
it against man?
Yeah. And just getting the guys on the move. It makes a difference.
Right.
Again, you see the importance of proper splits though, and knowing those landmarks from day one for those outside guys. You know what I mean? They've got to help us out. I don't have you. You're muted for some reason.
Sorry, my bad. This is my first time. If on that post that you've got on the front side of stick with the hitch inside,
Yep.
if that corner's got like inside leverage at let's say 7-by-1 inside.
Yeah.
What's his aiming point? Because I know you kind of crapped on the kid for getting too far inside, or like
Yeah,
what's his aiming point? Is he going to still attack his outside? Would he go over the top of him ever, or is
he's got to go over the top of him.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he's got to take it over the top of him. You know what I mean? And see what unless the kid for some reason in his technique comes back and he evens up on him, which that would probably not happen.
Right, gotcha.
You know what I mean? So
I appreciate it. Good job,
Coach. It almost becomes a go.
Gotcha.
Okay, but I'm gonna again. We first started doing this in 2009, and it was gave us a great front side backside option. The kids picked it up. It's been something that they've executed really, really well. It's been a great red zone play for us, and we're just getting back. As you saw on the schedule, we have both Columbia and Princeton this year. Back in the day with 2009, 2010, 2011. We were playing Yale and Brown and Columbia and Harvard, Dartmouth going out to Colgate. And we're playing against these Ivy League teams. And, they're Ivy League football players for a reason. They're smart. And we were tearing them a new one with it, So if you can execute it properly, it's a great and easy play to execute. So.
One final one, if you don't mind. So you had some of those stick calls where you didn't have the switch routes on the backside. Is that now developed into an automatic on the backside, or are there times you still run it mirrored?
It's actually going the other way, Coach. So now we're doing everything's mirrored. This is our mirror signal, okay? So everything's mirrored now, and we would have to tell them to switch it if we wanted them to run the switch routes. Okay.
Gotcha.
And that's all with the advent of the new offensive coordinator. Got to do it sometimes.
I got you.
Right. So. All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate your time.
Coach, great to see you, my friend. Always a pleasure.
All right. Be good, Skip. Take care.
Absolutely, brother.
Mike, thanks again for all your help.
Yeah, you got it, man.
All right. Be good.
All right. I'll see some of you guys tomorrow.
You bet.
Absolutely.
Good job, Half. Go watch the draft, will you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll be on about 12:15. You know me. I'm a techno nerd.
You're
Are
up
you
first
talking tomorrow?
I'm up first tomorrow. O-line stuff,
Oh,
baby.
baby. Here we go.
Old school, run the ball.
I can't drink at 12:15 for crying out
Yes,
loud.
I bullshit. Like, Ricky, what did you just say? It's what?